Welcome to Miss Scarlett. Subscribe and don't miss out on Patreon. Have fun! Carter sat in the quiet living room, staring at the old family photo on the mantel. His auburn hair fell in soft waves to his shoulders, a style his mother had encouraged him to grow out over the years. She had always dreamed of having a daughter, a little girl to dress in frills and share secrets with, but life had given her a son instead. His father had been the steady anchor, balancing her whims with practical advice, but after the accident that took him away when Carter was just 12, everything shifted. The house felt emptier, and his mother's eyes often lingered on him with a mix of love and unspoken longing. It started small, almost innocently. One laundry day, she handed him a pair of pink socks, claiming they were the only clean ones left. "They're just socks, Carter," she said with a gentle smile. "No one will see them under your shoes." He slipped them on, feeling the soft cotton against his skin, and something about the color made him pause. It wasn't uncomfortable. It was just different. Over the next few months, more items appeared in his drawer. Shirts with subtle floral prints, pants that were a bit more fitted than his old baggy ones. She never pushed. She just suggested, her voice laced with quiet hope. By the time Carter turned 16, the changes had woven into his daily routine. He wore the floral shirts to school without much thought, ignoring the occasional curious glance from classmates. His mother would beam when he came home, pulling him into hugs that lingered a little longer. "You look so nice today," she'd say, her fingers brushing his auburn hair. He didn't mind. It made her happy, and in the wake of his father's absence, her happiness felt like a fragile thread holding them together. As his 18th birthday approached, the house buzzed with a new energy. His mother spent evenings sewing, her needle flashing under the lamplight. "I have a surprise for you," she teased one night over dinner. Carter raised an eyebrow, his auburn locks catching the warm glow from the chandelier. He had grown used to her little gifts, but this felt different. On the morning of his birthday, she presented him with a wrapped box, her eyes shining. Inside was a knee-length blue dress with white lace trim, the fabric smooth and inviting. "Just try it on," she pleaded softly. "For me, just once. It would make me so happy." Carter hesitated, his heart pounding, but the look on her face, part plea, part dream, won him over. He retreated to his room, slipping out of his jeans and shirt. The dress glided over his skin like a whisper, the lace brushing his knees. He stared at his reflection, the auburn hair framing a face that suddenly seemed softer in the mirror. Something stirred inside him, a quiet awakening, like a door creaking open to a room he hadn't known existed. He stepped out, and his mother's gasp filled the air. "Oh, Carter, you look beautiful." She adjusted the hem, her hands trembling slightly. He didn't pull away. Instead, he twirled once, feeling the fabric swirl around him. It wasn't just for her anymore. That evening, they sat together on the porch, him still in the dress, talking about nothing and everything. The soft material against his legs felt right, like a missing piece slotting into place. The next day, more dresses appeared in his closet. Yellow sundresses with flowing skirts, floral patterns that danced in the breeze. His mother took him shopping, her arm linked through his as they browsed racks of skirts and blouses. Carter tried them on willingly, each piece igniting that same spark. He started wearing them around the house, then outside for short walks. The neighbors noticed, but his mother's proud stance beside him silenced any whispers. "This is my child," she'd say firmly. And that was that. School ended, and with summer came more freedom. Carter spent days in the garden, his auburn hair tied back with a ribbon, tending to the flowers in a light skirt that fluttered as he moved. He felt alive, unburdened by the expectations that had once weighed on him. His mother introduced him to makeup, subtle touches of lip gloss and eyeliner that enhanced his features. "See how it brings out your eyes?" she'd say, and he'd nod, mesmerized by the transformation. But it went deeper than clothing. Late-night conversations revealed his mother's deepest wishes, and Carter found himself sharing dreams he hadn't voiced before.
"I've always felt like something was off,"
he admitted one evening, sitting in a yellow sundress on the couch. She held his hand, tears in her eyes. "You can be whoever you want to be." That was the turning point. He chose the name Adele, a nod to a grandmother he'd never met, and it fit like the dresses did, perfectly. Hormone therapy began a few months later, after consultations with a kind doctor who listened without judgment. Adele felt the changes gradually, her body softening, her auburn hair growing thicker and more vibrant. She embraced it all, wearing exclusively feminine clothing, skirts that swayed with her steps, blouses with delicate buttons, and her growing collection of dresses. Her favorite became a red cocktail dress with matching heels, elegant and bold, perfect for special occasions. Life as Adele blossomed. She enrolled in community college, majoring in literature, her auburn hair often pinned up in a loose bun as she attended classes in flowing skirts and cardigans. Classmates were curious at first, but her confidence won them over. She joined a book club, where discussions flowed late into the evenings, her voice steady and sure in her red dress on formal nights. One afternoon, while walking home from campus, Adele stopped at a local cafe. The barista, a young woman named Mia with short black hair, smiled as she took her order. "Love your dress," Mia said, handing over the coffee. Adele blushed, adjusting the strap of her bag. "Thanks, it's my favorite." Their conversations started small, favorite books, the best spots in town, but grew into something more. Mia invited her to a poetry reading, and Adele went, her heels clicking on the pavement, feeling a flutter of excitement. At the event, Adele read a piece she'd written about identity and change, her auburn hair glowing under the stage lights. The audience applauded, and Mia squeezed her hand afterward. "That was amazing!" They walked together afterward, sharing stories under the street lamps. Adele opened up about her journey, from Carter to who she was now, and Mia listened with genuine interest. "You're inspiring," Mia said, and Adele felt a warmth spread through her. Back home, her mother noticed the change. "You've got a glow about you," she said over tea, as Adele sat in a floral skirt, legs crossed delicately. They talked about Mia, and her mother encouraged her. "Follow your heart, dear." Adele did, planning more outings. They visited art galleries, where Adele's red cocktail dress turned heads, and picnics in the park. Skirts spread out on blankets. Challenges arose, of course. An old school friend, Tom, bumped into her at the grocery store. "Is that you?" he asked, eyes wide. Adele straightened, her auburn hair framing her composed face. "It's Adele now," she replied calmly. Tom stumbled over words, but she held her ground, basket of groceries in hand, her skirt brushing her calves. He apologized later via message, and they reconnected tentatively, with Adele guiding the conversation toward acceptance. Work became part of her routine, too. She landed a part-time job at a bookstore, surrounded by shelves of novels that mirrored her own story of transformation. Dressed in professional blouses and knee-length skirts, She recommended books to customers, her heels echoing softly on the wooden floors. One regular, an elderly man named Mr. Hargrove, became a friend, sharing tales of his youth while she rang up his purchases.
"You've got a kind spirit,"
he'd say, and Adele would smile, feeling validated. Social circles expanded. Through the book club, she met Lena, a vibrant artist with a studio downtown. Lena invited her to painting sessions, where Adele donned an apron over her sundress, brush in hand, auburn hair tied back to avoid splatters. The canvases came alive with colors that reflected her emotions, soft blues for peace, bright yellows for joy. "Art is about expressing who you are," Lena taught her, and Adele poured her soul into each stroke. Family dynamics evolved as well. Distant relatives visited, and her mother stood by her side as Adele greeted them in an elegant blouse and skirt ensemble. Aunt Clara, initially taken aback, warmed up over dinner, complimenting Adele's poise.
"You've grown into such a lovely young woman,"
she said, and Adele felt a surge of pride. Holidays became celebrations of their bond, with Adele in her red cocktail dress, heels clicking as she set the table, her auburn hair styled in loose waves. Romantic feelings with Mia deepened. They shared a first date at a quiet restaurant, Adele in her favorite red dress, the fabric shimmering under the candlelight. Mia reached across the table, their fingers intertwining. "I'm glad I met you," she whispered. Adele's heart raced, but it was a gentle, hopeful beat. They strolled through the city afterward, talking about futures and dreams, the night air cool against Adele's skin. Community involvement grew. Adele volunteered at a local support group for those exploring their identities, sharing her story in circle discussions. Dressed in supportive, comfortable skirts and tops, she listened to others, offering empathy drawn from her own path. One young person, Jamie, confided in her privately, and Adele mentored them, encouraging steps towards self-acceptance. "It's okay to take it slow," she'd say, her auburn hair falling softly as she leaned in. Personal growth continued. Adele took up yoga, attending classes in leggings and tunics, still feminine, always. The stretches helped her connect with her changing body, the hormones working their subtle magic. She felt stronger, more in tune, her movements graceful in the mirror-lined studio. Instructors praised her form, and she made friends there, like Sarah, who invited her to wellness retreats. Travel entered the picture. Her mother surprised her with a trip to the coast, packing suitcases full of sundresses and skirts. They drove along winding roads, Adele's auburn hair whipping in the wind from the open window. At the beach, she walked barefoot in the sand, skirt hems wet from waves, feeling free. They collected shells, laughed over seaside dinners, and bonded deeper than ever. Back home, Adele pursued writing more seriously. She started a blog, anonymous at first, detailing her journey without specifics that could identify her. Entries flowed, words painting pictures of awakening and embrace. Readers commented, sharing their own stories, and Adele responded with encouragement. One post about her favorite red dress garnered attention, leading to an invitation to speak at a small conference. The event was nerve-wracking but exhilarating. Adele stood on stage in her red cocktail dress and matching heels, auburn hair pinned elegantly, sharing her tale. The audience listened raptly, and applause followed. Afterward, a publisher approached her, interested in a book deal. "Your voice is unique," he said. Adele's eyes widened, possibilities unfolding. Friendships solidified. With Mia, they planned a weekend getaway to a cabin in the woods. Adele packed her skirts and dresses, excited for a quiet time together. They hiked trails, Adele's heels swapped for practical flats, but still paired with feminine attire, talking about life and love. By the fire, Mia leaned in, their connection growing tender and real. Professional aspirations took shape. The bookstore job led to a promotion, managing the events section. Adele organized author readings, her auburn hair often adorned with a simple clip as she introduced speakers in her professional skirts. One event featured a transgender author whose book resonated deeply, and Adele moderated the Q&A, her questions insightful. Home life remained a sanctuary. Evenings with her mother involved cooking new recipes, Adele in an apron over her dress, chopping vegetables while they chatted. "I'm so proud of you," her mother would say, and Adele would hug her, feeling the completeness of their family. New hobbies emerged. Adele learned to sew, inspired by her mother's skills. In the sewing room, surrounded by fabrics, she created her own pieces, custom skirts with unique patterns, blouses that fit perfectly. Her auburn hair would fall forward as she worked the machine. The hum, a soothing rhythm. Social media became a tool. She built a following on a platform for writers, posting snippets of poetry, always in photos showing her feminine style. Followers engaged, and collaborations arose, like co-writing a short story with another online creator. Challenges persisted, but Adele faced them head-on. A job interview at a larger company tested her resolve when the interviewer hesitated upon seeing her. Dressed in a sharp blouse and skirt, she answered questions confidently, her auburn hair neat and professional. She got the job, proving her worth beyond appearances. Romantic milestones with Mia included meeting each other's families. Adele's mother welcomed Mia warmly, serving tea as they sat in the living room, Adele in a casual sundress. Mia's parents were equally kind, and Adele felt accepted, her heels on the carpet a symbol of her unyielding self. Creative pursuits expanded. Adele joined a theater group, auditioning for roles that fit her identity. In rehearsals, wearing costumes that enhanced her femininity, she discovered a passion for acting. Her first performance, in a play about self-discovery, earned standing ovations, her auburn hair spotlighted on stage. Wellness routines deepened. She incorporated meditation, sitting in quiet corners of the house in comfortable skirts, breathing deeply to center herself. This practice helped navigate emotional days, reinforcing her commitment to her path. Community events multiplied. Adele participated in pride parades, walking proudly in her red dress, heels striding confidently, auburn hair flowing. Friends like Lena and Sarah joined, banners waving, the energy infectious. Literary success beckoned. The publisher's interest turned into a contract, and Adele began outlining her memoir. Late nights at her desk, in a nightgown, still feminine, she typed away, words flowing from experience. As autumn arrived, Adele and Mia planned a trip abroad, passports in hand. Excitement built as they shopped for travel outfits, all skirts and dresses for Adele. The airport loomed, a new adventure on the horizon. Hope you enjoyed the story so far. The rest will be available on Patreon.